as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day.
It's a pleasure to welcome back to Marbella Now Tom, who is the president of Age Concern Marbella and San Pedro. Recently launched something we promoted last year's United Nationalities at Marbella Summit, and something that is so necessary. Tom, welcome back and Happy New Year.
Thank you, nice to be here, same to you.
It's coming up now to the coldest time that Marbella knows. In fact, when I got up this morning, there was snow on the mountains, and there have been cars stuck up in Ronda, as well as the rest of the country of Spain going through horrors because of the cold weather. This is a time, it's a very delicate time for elderly people, particularly if they're alone. What are the plans? Is there any special going on, Tom, for these first few months of the year in particular to help those who are most vulnerable?
Yeah, the first concern we have is to get set up and start to move. We have a branch in Figueroa, we have a branch in Estepona. We don't have a branch in Marbella San Pedro, so we're in the middle of setting that up, and we are just awaiting for the SIF number. Oh,
you haven't got that yet?
No, we've only been waiting since last May, but that's part of the joys of living in Spain, I think. But I think we're within days of having that. The next thing we need to do very urgently is to get name awareness of who we are, what the aims and objectives are, and the two of those which are vitally important immediately are to find volunteers to serve the community, and then find the people who are vulnerable within the community that we can help. We already have a very strong committee of people ready to roll, and we're all moving. We're already doing work, but the next phase is to do a lot of PR, a lot of advertising, a lot like this, a lot of name awareness, whatever we can do to become known, and then to advertise urgently on the basis of if your neighbour is elderly and seems to be in need of care, telephone this number and we will have somebody to come out and help and assess, because there's a massive problem in the Marbella San Pedro.
So at the moment, your first priority is getting those volunteers, people who can then, from the 27 kilometre stretch, which makes it quite difficult in Marbella, because you really do have from, what is it?
It's kind of from Calahonda right down through to
Guadalmina,
well, to the Estepona boundary. It's the Marbella San Pedro postcode.
It's a long stretch to have volunteers. Stretch, yeah. Either you need them all along the areas.
We don't think we'll have a major problem getting that, but our problem is name awareness is probably my priority for the next 5 or 6 months. It's becoming known of who we are, identify the people in need, and begin to serve the community, which is what we're here to do.
Yeah, well, in fact, just a couple of days ago, a friend of mine was helping a friend of a friend. She's Dutch. She's now alone. Her friends have died. She's alone in Spain. Although she's financially secure, she no se entera de nada. She's not understanding what's going on. And she really is very alone, and when she has to go to doctor's appointments, and she needs help. This would be the type of thing?
That's exactly. People assume that because it's Marbella San Pedro, that financial is never an issue. It often is, because there are people who came here when the pound was 150 to the euro, and they're struggling, they're surviving, and partners die. But the loneliness is a major problem in the community here. And what you're talking about is a prime example of somebody who's elderly, alone, having some mental stress issues or mental issues generally.
I think a lot of it is because she feels so lost.
Yes, that's probably right. So we're there to befriend, help, advise, and get professional help if we possibly can for those exact people that you're describing. If you could, if it were possible to have somebody on your program to talk about their own problem, if you could get somebody who would be prepared to do that, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Exactly, because I think a lot of people are not really thinking that that is for me, that I've got a problem, I need to get to the doctor, or I haven't got shopping, or I'm lonely, and to ring this helpline for age concern. But that is exactly it. So if you're feeling a bit lost and you don't know how to get organised either with your paperwork, your medical papers, whatever it may be. Drop us a line. Legal,
grocery,
financial,
everything.
Anything that is worrying you when you are of a certain age and you don't know where to turn. Age Concern is the place. So there's in Fuencarrola, Estepona, Marbella, San Pedro is being set up now.
That's correct.
And the idea is, as you say, get the word out there, which is very difficult.
Yeah, but that's
it's not difficult. It just takes time and us all getting on board.
That's where you will help greatly, I know.
I hope so. I hope so. We're doing that already.
You are, yes, you are.
And the nice thing is in Marbella, and people forget this, this 27-kilometre stretch of coastline, although it may separate us to some degree, it actually makes for very easy bonding. It's very networkable. Because if I'm speaking to you, and then next day you're in Elveria, and the next one's here, and the next one's there.
That's right, yeah.
And everyone passes it on. When it comes up and someone says, oh, I've got a friend who needs this, we'll all know to say, Age Concern.
It may be a perfect example, being here, that if there are any viewers out there whose next door neighbour does seem to need help, get in touch and we will give you the telephone number and get in touch and we will try to help.
I think some of the times it's necessary for Age Concern to ring the people as opposed to getting the people to ring Age Concern. I think people are very loath to ask for help, especially of certain nationalities. No, British are quite proud, the Dutch, in the sense of feeling that they need that help.
People have dignity and they have their pride, of course they do, yes, and that is a sensitive issue, very sensitive.
Okay, well we'll be talking about that. Hopefully we'll get you guys to join in, members of the public, and we can share your experiences and all learn together. I know that you have to rush off, Tom, busy man.
Thank you for the opportunity, it's been lovely.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
Okay, you too. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here in Marbella, but it says here I'm in La Canada.
If you haven't mastered the lingo, don't worry. Linear Director has a free GPS geolocator service that will come and find you. This next section is sponsored by Linear Director, tailor-made expat car insurance. We've been learning to say a few words in Spanish, or if you're Spanish, a few words in English. Basic ones to start off. Hola, hello, adios, goodbye. Por favor, please, and gracias, thank you. We also did a few festive words like Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Happy Christmas. And then we also had Feliz Año Nuevo, Happy New Year. So I thought I would just remind those one because that one's still very much in the now. Feliz Año Nuevo, Happy New Year. It's lovely not only to have welcomed back Tom, the president of Age Concern, but now the lovely Linda Wooden, who amongst many other things that she does is also acting as the media representative for Age Concern to get awareness out there. This exists. Age Concern Marbella San Pedro is being born as we speak. The processes are going through and you are obviously helping get the word out, which is fundamental, as Tom was saying.
Yes, not just to get volunteers, but to get the people that need the help. It's really, really important because many, many people don't know where to get their help from.
And I think even when they're hearing about it, they're not really sure if they are allowed to use it, or maybe thinking that they don't need it, it's for other people more in need. It's going to be quite a challenge, I think, getting people all round the board involved. Not necessarily the volunteers, but those
that need the assistant, yes. And particularly when you suddenly realise, oh my gosh, I've arrived at that point myself, because there are people that we know quite well within that Age Concern community that in the past, obviously, they were doing their thing, and now suddenly they are the ones that are frail and need that assistance, and they're not aware that they need it. So it's really just to look after your neighbours, really, as best you can, and get hold of us if you feel that the neighbour needs extra assistance in any shape or form.
So that would probably be, I think you've hit the nail on the head, as opposed to relying on those in need. It's watching out for those who are vulnerable and us taking charge of making sure that we contact Age Concern and get that system going.
Get the ball rolling.
Get the ball rolling,
yeah.
I like that. Getting the ball rolling, getting information out there. Facebook has many things I don't like about it. One of the great ones is, for example, driving home from New Year's Eve, looking at the Facebook as one does. I wasn't driving, and I saw that you were missing your two dogs.
Oh.
That must have been just terrifying to get home and find them gone. Can you share with us, because there is a happy ending to the story, but it did take quite a few days.
It took 5 days. Yeah, we got home from a party at about 1 o'clock in the morning to find that 2 of our 3 four-legged children had disappeared. And we were absolutely mortified. We didn't know how they'd got out because we have a big gate, and we thought, fenced in the whole property so that the little dogs couldn't get out. But we did know that the one dog of ours is absolutely terrified of fireworks, and we will never do it again, but we had kept a door slightly ajar so that the dog could go out, into the garden and do their thing and then come home. So I immediately got on Facebook and said, help, has anybody seen 2 little dogs in Guadalmina? And I get this phone call from Nicole saying, darling, where in the area can we help you? So her and her lovely family elected to go shooting around all over the streets of Guadalmina and sadly didn't find them. Needless to say, we didn't sleep that night. And the next morning, of course, we put the message out again. We got hold of the police, the local police, who were fabulous. We got hold of AAA, Adana. We got hold of everything and everyone that we could possibly do and put photographs of our 2 animals that were missing. On the 2nd of January, one of the girls had seen the Facebook message and she said, I think I've got a sighting of your dog near the Barcelo Hotel in Guadalmina.
Wow.
So a neighbour of mine and myself went out in the car and we started looking here, there and everywhere in that area. I was almost lost my voice screeching and shouting for the 2 dogs. And eventually, suddenly, my husband phoned me and said, you won't believe it, but the young puppy has walked into the kitchen. We have no idea how she got back into the garden. And there she was. So, phew, number 1 child found. So we put out a second appeal, this time getting hold of AAA, who asked me a question, which was, is your dog chipped? Yes, it is. And she said, I will actually have a look and see what the chip says. And they alerted me to something that I think we should all be aware of, that your chip in that dog has to be up to date. Because that particular little dog that was still missing had my mother's details. And they were phoning the number that was on that chip, which my mother died sadly 3 years ago, and I had taken on her dog. So we immediately,
oh my gosh.
So we immediately got hold of the vet who changed the details, and that is the way that we got the second dog back, because she had been collected by a family who had been at a party in Guadalmina. They had seen this little fluffy dog underneath their car and picked it up and taken it home to La Cala, which is, as you know, about 40 or so kilometers away from us. And at 4 o'clock on the 4th in the morning, I got a phone call from a very nice Spanish lady saying, I think I have your dog. And I said, how do you know it's my dog? And she said, well, the police came and did a chip check on that dog, and your number came up on their list, on the police record list. And they phoned and got me at 4 o'clock in the morning. So 3 o'clock that afternoon, we met in Marbella, and I was so happy to see my second dog. But you know how lucky we've been.
So lucky.
So Facebook friends are absolutely invaluable. They're wonderful. And everyone up and down this coast has been fantastic, really.
And the conclusion here is perfectly a wonderful, happy story. But above all, it's something that Lily has spoken about many a time. Not only that your dog should be chipped, but that address be up to date. If you move,
so important.
Change that address, because otherwise the story could be very different. In the dog pounds, they keep the dogs normally for 10 days before they put them down if they're not claimed. AAA isn't that way.
AAA
will keep them.
Fabulous.
And they don't put anyone down, but they're even trying to contact you if you don't have the correct details.
Yep.
They can't do,
Well, they're
miracles.
the ones that alerted me to start off with, because they check the chip number. You have to have a passport for your dog as well. Really important. But honestly, I cannot say thank you enough to everybody up and down this coast for getting our four-legged children back.
All the way up in La Cala. Glad you got the babies back. A great
Thank
way
you.
to start the year. And some good lessons learned so that none of us have to go through this. Linda's been through it for all of us.
Yeah, and thanks to you and your family.
Well, I'd say it's a little bit of
Really.
everyone together, at least to show that solidaridad, no?
Yeah,
That no one's in
exactamente.
this on their own.
Yeah.
Whether it's because of age or whether because you've lost an animal, that's what we're here for. We're a community and we are hashtag so much better together. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much,
Happy New
Nicole.
Year.
And to you, darling. Thank you.
Hey, hey.
Mañana estaré en la radio a las 11 de la mañana con Eva Bien en las mañanas con Eva Bien. A las 11, 107.6 FM si queréis sintonizar. And we will also be back tomorrow evening for another program. But for this evening, take care of yourselves, be nice to each other. Y hasta luego.
Hey, hey.